What it do, y'all? We back with another reaction right now. We're going to get into this new 1090 Jake video, man. It's called The Case of Karmelo Anthony, Lies, Race, and Deceit. For everybody who's been watching my reactions, I did a reaction on Karmelo Anthony when the situation happened. I haven't done one since with an updated version or with up-to-date details, so this is going to be an up-to-date one. Let's get into it. Let's see what things are right now. Let's go.
There's no self-defense, because if you are afraid the day before where you have to take a weapon to school, why not notify your parents? You getting ready to run track with other kids and you got a knife on you. No, man, you got to go to jail.
Talking about he had a knife. You damn right. If you a black man living in America, you better be walking around with a talking about he had a knife. You got white boys riding around with guns and y'all crying about a knife.
Right.
The hard part that cost me is I lost my son, and his brother was holding him, trying to hold the blood in, and he passed. My son watched his brother die in his arms.
See, that's what I say about people will look at this like we don't, or whatever, if depending on how your racial views are. If you're like, I don't care, you know what I mean? But this is the one thing every race has in common. That feeling right there he's having right now of losing a loved one, losing your son. Like everybody, we all relate to that. If our son, we'll be looking the same way right now if your son, your brother, your dad got killed. So that's the one thing we all have in common. But I know some people gonna look at him crying and feel heartless about it. Like, I don't care, because they're so like racially motivated to not fuck with the white side of things. This case right here is creating a lot of racial tension, for sure.
I need a break.
Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that it shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son.
Man, why the fuck he acting like only black people kill around him, bro? Look at all these reactions we've been doing. It's been all white people mostly. Killing their own people, killing their homies or their mamas, they families. Like, what the fuck?
Are you done?
We did react to a black dude that killed his whole family too. That was kind of crazy.
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend.
A confrontation between two teens left one dead and the country divided. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the criminal case of Karmelo Anthony. April 2nd, 2025, it was 10 a.m. when the Staley Middle School resource officer heard over the radio there was a stabbing at the school track field. Frisco police would alert nearby officers an athlete was the victim, and the suspect was a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants.
Here we go with the hoodie
thing. The school officer rushed to the stadium where two teens told him the victim was under the Memorial High School tent. Approaching the tent, an adult would point out the suspect, who remained on the track separated from the officer by a chain link fence. The officer commanded the suspect to keep his hands in the air, and the suspect complied, saying, "I was protecting myself." As the officer placed the suspect in handcuffs, the suspect said, "He put his hands on me." The officer sat the suspect on the ground while advising back up over the radio he had the alleged suspect. The suspect then stated, "I'm not alleged, I did it." By this point, the suspect had the right to remain silent, he just didn't have the ability. While walking him to the police vehicle, the suspect became emotional, crying hysterically as he said, "He put his hands on me, I told him not to." While in the back seat, he then asked officers if the victim was going to be okay. The suspect would identify himself as 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, a student from Frisco Centennial High. While this was going on, athletic trainers along with the Frisco Fire Department were attempting to save the victim. The weather turned to a heavy downpour of rain, causing the fire department to place a tent over the victim. Wow. A police officer began using his phone to photograph the crime scene, as others began taping off the area and moving non-essential people out of the stadium. Officers were informed the weapon used had been tossed, with a witness stating it was in the bleachers. Officers discovered the folding knife partially open and still bloody,
Damn.
deciding to cover it with a tarp. An officer grabbed a backpack to weigh the tarp down, noticing it was the only backpack from Centennial High, as all the others were from Memorial. It was later discovered
That was his backpack?
this was the suspect's backpack. The victim, identified as 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, was a Memorial High student. Investigators would learn the stadium was hosting a track and field championship with multiple schools in attendance. The stabbing took place under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. A witness would tell police he was sitting under the tent with his team and was near his teammate Austin as everything played out. Austin told the suspect, Karmelo, that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Not only did Karmelo go to a different school, he was under their tent wearing Centennial High clothing. Karmelo grabbed his backpack, opened it, and reached inside telling Austin, "Touch me and see what happens."
You know the one thing that I always hear when I do like watch this stuff on this situation is always that he asked him to move. They never say how he asked him to move, like in what context. Did he say like, "Hey bro, can you get up and you can't be here?" Or was it like, "Hey motherfucker, you need to get the fuck from under my tent"? Like how did he say it? That's what nobody has yet to say. Or I haven't seen nobody say that yet, because like it had to be aggressive. It had to be aggressive in order. So I mean, that doesn't make it right, but still, like they always leave that part out. You got to give the full details on this shit.
The witness told officers no one really thought Karmelo had any weapons, so Austin proceeded to touch Karmelo. Karmelo then told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo to tell him to move, and Karmelo pulled out what the witness described as a black knife, stabbing Austin once in the chest before running away. Austin began grabbing his chest, telling everyone to get help, and shortly after, he'd lose consciousness, stop breathing, and never wake up again. 2 more witnesses were found breathing heavily and crying, one of which was identified as the victim's younger brother.
Yeah.
He was unable to say much, but his friends said they were sitting on the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent. A male wearing a different school's clothes came and sat down, so Austin told him since he didn't go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. While arguing, Austin was stabbed and the suspect ran. Austin's younger brother held on to his older brother as he lost consciousness, bleeding out in his brother's arms. It was 10:46 a.m. when Austin was brought into the trauma bay at the hospital. 7 minutes later, he was pronounced dead.
Damn.
His heart had been pierced.
Oh, he stabbed him right in the center of the chest.
Officers listed student witnesses from Lebanon High, Liberty High, Memorial High, Frisco High, Independence High, and Emerson High. Centennial High's head coach told officers he heard his athlete confess to the stabbing, while 2 coaches from Independence High School witnessed the stabbing. Karmelo Anthony would be charged with first-degree murder and transported to the Collin County Jail. Under Texas law, even at 17 years old, Karmelo could and would be charged as an adult. His bond would be set at $1 million. Immediately following his arrest, social media would divide black versus white. Some of the black community would come to the immediate defense of Karmelo, stating it was purely self-defense and he's only been arrested because of the fact that his victim is white. They'd also claim the victim in this case was the aggressor. While GoFundMe doesn't allow funding lawyers for criminal cases, apparently GiveSendGo does, and over $500,000 has been raised for Karmelo, with a list of donation comments raising concern amongst journalists. One anonymous donation would label Karmelo an anti-bullying hero, a scholar,
anti-bullying hero.
Gentleman. A donator named Black Excellence would donate again, stating, "The more these hateful whites show their insecurities and fragilities of losing dominance. Sending love, light, and justice to King Karmelo." Rock from Atlanta would comment, "We are the defenders of our lineage. This is America, And these flat whiteness immigrants from all over the world has always been open enemies towards foundational black Americans from day one, no more. Some in the white community would also speak out, stating this wasn't self-defense, it was flat out murder. Many would be enraged at the fact that Austin's killer was being praised for being black and killing a white. The donations spoke for themselves.
Man, they do that shit all the time. Y'all sit here talking about he being praised. Man, every time, nigga, what's some, Rittenhouse, when he killed the shit, everybody supported him. Or Kyle Rittenhouse. What's the nigga in Florida? They supported that nigga. Shit, they made that nigga like he was a star. The nigga in Florida. Was the nigga in Florida, y'all, that killed Trayvon Martin? They made that nigga like he was a star. So, man, come on, kill us with all that shit.
Literally. And many have also stated if the races were reversed and the victim was black, there would be riots and looting.
Yeah, George Zimmerman.
Karmelo's actions in Austin's death was now being politicized and used by radicals on both sides to justify prejudice. In simpler terms, it didn't matter who was right or wrong because the ones speaking out don't care about Karmelo or Austin, they care about their own agenda. Things would heat up again on April 14, 2025, when Judge Angela Tucker reduced Karmelo's bond from $1 million down to $250,000. She also agreed to release him based on his clean criminal record and his athletic/academic background. Karmelo would then be released under the conditions he wear an ankle monitor and be supervised by a parent at all times. Judge Tucker's decision would cause her to receive violent and racist threats on social media,
they probably
leaving
hate
her
her
with no choice but to privatize her Twitter.
They hate her.
Judge
for sure.
Tucker's personal security has also been temporarily increased as the FBI investigate anyone who released private or personal information about her, as they plan to charge those responsible with unlawful disclosure of a resident's address or telephone number and obstruction or retaliation. Karmelo and his family would also be targeted through death threats and harassment. People would visit his home, loitering and taking pictures, while others would make false food delivery orders and send hate mail including Austin's obituary. It became common for people to circle the home in their vehicles to essentially provoke fear and intimidation. Karmelo's family would have no choice but to use donation funds to relocate to an undisclosed location. But this harassment wasn't one-sided. Frisco police would receive a phone call reporting a shooting at Austin Metcalf's father's home.
Oh, shit.
Another shooting would be reported at his mother's home. This would happen a total of 3 times, all 3 being fake reports known as swatting.
Damn, they swatted the parents' houses. Damn, this shit is out of control. Come on, bruh. Swatting the parents' houses is crazy. Like, regardless of which side it is, that's still fucked up.
Which an anonymous person contacts police and they respond to what they believe to be a violent situation. Swatting has even led to innocent people being killed by police.
That ain't cool, man.
Austin's father, Jeff, has been making headlines himself as he attempted to make peace with his son's killer's family and pray together at a press conference held for Karmelo.
Oh, that's fire.
Instead, he was escorted out by police, with Karmelo's family apparently uninterested in making amends.
Wait, I thought that was... wait, it must be something we don't know. If the family wasn't fucking with it, that seemed like some peaceful shit. Like, I want to come pray with the family who killed my son and let's make amends. If he's really on that unintentionally and pure about that, and he's on that type of time, I don't see why they wouldn't do it with him. But if he's doing that to be on like some snake shit and get close to him and do some weird shit, I feel it. Like, fuck her. But that is kind of crazy if he's trying to make peace and he lost his son. And that's big on his behalf, the one who lost his son. If the parent is trying to make peace, that's a step in the right direction, you know, especially to see all this publicly, how this shit is causing black versus white. You know, I don't know. Let's see.
What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words. Don't quote anybody. is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited.
I'm lost.
He knows
Why he didn't?
that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
The main voice speaking.
Wait. See, this is where I'm lost though. He the one that lost his kid. So what do we not know? Like, why is that disrespectful for him to come? He the one that got his son, whose son, got killed. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if he's been in the press talking shit about Karmelo's family, and then he just tried to show up on some like snake sinister shit. Oh, I want to make peace with y'all, like on some trolling shit. That'd be fucked up, but I don't know. Damn, I gotta dig more into that one. Has the pops been saying some crazy shit, or has he been on some peaceful shit?
Speaking for the Anthony family was not actually a member, but the so-called minister Dominique Alexander. Describing himself as a minister of justice, political, civil, and human rights activist, and supporter of Black Lives Matter, his suit, tie, and slow way of speaking aligns with more of a gimmick from a man with an agenda. Come to find out, Dominique has a long criminal history himself.
Oh my God.
Served prison time for abusing a baby. Back in July of 2009.
Oh no. They done found out the lawyer.
He was babysitting his girlfriend's 2-year-old son when he called her telling her to get home now. He didn't tell her why. When she arrived, the child was unresponsive. He'd claimed he'd walked into another room and heard the baby boy fall off the couch as he was watching a movie. When he walked back in, the boy's eyes looked funny, later telling a detective they rolled to the back of his head. The 2-year-old boy was placed in the intensive care unit and discovered to have a subdural hemorrhage at the back of his head, meaning blood around his brain. He also had retinal hemorrhaging, meaning bleeding in both of his eyes. The severity of the boy's injuries were ruled inconsistent with falling off a couch and more consistent with abusive head trauma and physical abuse. Dominique would later plead guilty in this case. Dominique would address his multiple arrests from theft, forgery, stealing a car, making a false police report. The list goes on. He'd say social media would try to shame him, but ended up showing his testimony. That when he first stepped into activism in 2014, he didn't hide who he was, and he was even named Person of the Year for the Dallas Observer's People Edition in 2015. But in 2019, Dominique would be arrested for striking and pushing his girlfriend.
Dominique Alexander, the founder of the Next Generation Action Network, was indicted today on a charge of...
What is going on with this goddamn lawyer? Hey, listen. I think y'all picked the wrong lawyer for a case of this magnitude. Y'all can't have a lawyer with all this shit going on. It's going to look bad on us, man. Y'all got to go get y'all a clean background, a lawyer with a clean background. This shit is many. He out here beating up his girlfriend and beating up kids and all kind of shit. What the fuck?
Continuous violence against the family, that's a third-degree felony. He was arrested back in April after his girlfriend, Kiera Saunders, told police Alexander assaulted her. However, in an affidavit filed before today's indictment, Saunders says she doesn't want any part of the prosecution.
Regardless, this was the face of Karmelo Anthony's family. A man whose sole purpose is speaking against so-called racist police who target black men. He was now taking this opportunity to make Karmelo the victim who had to defend himself against his white attacker. So let's look at the facts. Karmelo was an athlete from Centennial High. During a track and field competition, he chose to sit under an opposing school's tent. Austin was an athlete from Memorial High and confronted Karmelo about being under his team's tent. Austin would grab Karmelo's backpack, telling him to leave, and eventually push Karmelo, while Karmelo would grab his backpack, reaching inside, telling Austin, "Touch me and see what happens."
Touch me and see what happens, nigga.
Continue, which led to Karmelo pulling out the knife and stabbing him. Now my boy JD DeLay would break down Texas self-defense laws perfectly.
Break it down.
Constitutes lawful self-defense. It's all going to depend on what state you're in because each state has different laws. But for the sake of relevant current events, let's talk about the state of Texas. The state of Texas has the best self-defense laws out of any state in the country. They have stand your ground laws, which means that you do not have to retreat. You're allowed to defend yourself if somebody threatens or physically harms you. But you're only allowed to use proportional violence. So if somebody's coming at you with hands and you shoot them, you could be in a lot of trouble. All depends on the valid and articulable threat that was there at the time. Somebody's coming after you with a gun or a knife, then you are definitely in your realm to be able to use lethal force. However, this does require that you did not instigate the incident and that you are not somewhere that you are not supposed to be. You instigated the incident. If you are somewhere you don't belong or if you use excessive force, self-defense is out the window. Like I said, this is specifically applicable to the state of Texas and their laws, so know the law where you live. Might just save your life or keep your ass out of prison.
Right.
In this situation, not only was Karmelo somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, as he didn't go to Memorial High and should have been with his own team, he was armed with a weapon he wasn't supposed to have. His mere presence during a competition could be seen as provoking an opposing school. After being confronted, Karmelo would reach in his bag saying, "Touch me and see what happens." The fact that Karmelo ran track, if he was in fear for his life, he literally just could have ran. But in a stand your ground case, he doesn't legally have to. But Austin wasn't threatening to kill, use a weapon, or even beat him. He was telling him to leave. So Karmelo using deadly force as self-defense seems very unjustified. But also telling someone, "Touch me and see what happens," can qualify as instigating the incident.
Yeah, that's a fact.
If a gang member walks to a rival gang's territory with an illegal weapon, daring a rival gang member to touch him so he can legally kill him, that doesn't qualify as self-defense. So if an opposing athlete sits in an opposing team's area with a concealed weapon and stabs someone when confronted, I don't see how he can claim self-defense. Karmelo would show emotion, hysterically crying after the incident, even asking if Austin was okay. This shows compassion. And while a former FBI agent...
I ain't gonna cap, this shit does look kind of crazy when you listen to them breaking down the Texas laws, like what isn't considered stand your ground or what isn't considered self-defense and what those are self-defense shit out the window. And then he's basically lining it all up. Like everything that old boy said in that video about self-defense, that's all the shit that Karmelo did. Where it doesn't apply, that's all the shit that Karmelo did. Did he instigate it though is the question. I guess would you say sitting down under the tent is instigating it? That could be. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, why is it, like, I got to hear from somebody who was right there. Like, who was right there that heard and seen the whole thing? Because it's all about the energies, too. Like, what was the energy? I don't know this kid from a can of paint, so I don't know if he was an asshole kid or if he was a good kid, or vice versa for Austin, too. I don't know if he was a bad kid, good kid. I don't know his energy, if he's like a, was he sitting there because there wasn't no more room underneath his tent? They said it was raining. There wasn't no more room underneath his tent, so he went under their tent to get out the rain. Like, that's why I'm like, I need to hear from somebody who was right there so we can match that. Like, oh, he came over and he said this and he was like, fuck you and woo woo. Now we like, oh, so it was some confrontational shit going on. That's what I'm still trying to understand.
Claims from her experience, Karmelo was using an insane Vice Lord's gang sign while holding an AK-47. The full picture would show Karmelo at a friend's house holding a BB gun in which the orange tip has been removed. No more extreme than Austin and his brother holding real guns. Karmelo wasn't a thug. He came from a nice job with 2 parents in an affluent area. He held a job at a kid's Foot Locker, was captain of the football team and track team. Should he have had a knife? No. But how many teen boys have carried pocket knives? Just because he's black doesn't mean he was looking to stab someone that day. I think teenage pride and ego led to an irreversible decision. I think regretting compassion should weigh on the scale of justice. I don't think Karmelo is innocent of murder, but I also don't think he placed himself there with the intent to kill. Looking at their athletic stats, Austin was 6 foot tall and 220 pounds.
6 foot.
While Karmelo was 5'10", 175 pounds. Karmelo resorted to a weapon out of fear,
Smaller.
but I don't believe he feared for his life. I believe he feared he'd get beat up. Unfortunately, I don't think this fear meets the legal qualification to kill someone in self-defense.
Right.
I also feel his self-defense won't stand because he provoked Austin by saying, "Touch me and see what happens." When Austin touched him, he then said, "Hit me and see what happens." It would be different if he displayed the knife and told him he's prepared to defend himself. In the end, a teenage athlete died.
Damn.
Another face.
This is going to be a crazy one right here.
Countless people with nothing better to do are using this to fuel political agendas.
That's a
now,
fact.
this case is tragic, controversial. There's a lot of elements to this case, right? And it's going to be difficult for them to find jurors that haven't been swayed by the media in this situation. The biggest topic with this is going to be race and racism. You have Dominique Alexander, the spokesperson for the family, who used the roughly 40 minutes of the press conference to basically race bait and play the victim role as a black man in America, while not confronting his 20 to 30 arrests and the fact that his only victims from physical crimes seem to be a baby boy and a woman, right? That's what he's been arrested for. He was convicted for abusing the baby, and both of them in that situation were black. But he chooses to now classify himself as an activist and only goes after situations involving white people.
Hey, he been on lawyer ass this whole video.
Black Lives Matter. They only speak out when a white person is involved. This situation is being blown out of proportion.
He on lawyer ass.
Radicals on both sides. And Austin's father, who tried to make amends with the family and was met with dismissal, he has even expressed to white radicals that are trying to push this white agenda, look, I don't believe in y'all's bullshit. This isn't a race thing. This is two teenagers and something unfortunate that happened.
Oh, see, if that's the point, that's why I was asking earlier, like, is the dad trolling out? Because I don't know the backstory of the dad. But what he's saying is that's the dad's energy. He's been on, nigga, I'm trying to squash this shit. Not squash it, but I want to pray with y'all. Your son killed my son, but I'm still big enough to be a man and come here and show some unity and pray with y'all. And let's kill all this fucking racial shit that the media is trying to. That's the thing, man. Once the media stick their fangs in you, they could create a cold narrative and push this propaganda out there and start this fucking race war where now you done made 2 high school kids bumping heads and, out of feeling scared or being bullied or whatever the fucking case may be, into a big old race war to where now it could create, when this goes to trial and this case comes out and the verdict comes out, it could create a fucking riot because the media created this big ass circus around it. And that's the thing. It's like, damn, like, why does it got to be a race thing if it wasn't done with racial intent? The whole time when I keep hearing stuff about this case, it isn't about the white boy calling him an N-word or, the black kid calling him something racial. But why are they making this a racial thing? So I get it. It's a black and a white kid. But why are they pushing that narrative so crazy if that wasn't the line? I be seeing people in the chat say, oh, the kids was racist, but I haven't seen nothing yet. So if y'all can send me a video that actually proves some racially motivated shit was done, I would love to react to it. I want to see it. Fill me in. If y'all got some shit that 10 Jake left out, let me know where I can go look. Some legit shit, not just a nigga giving his opinion, but some facts on the boy or on the parents or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm here for it.
But I'm not siding with racists. I'm not siding with bullshit. I'm just trying to get over the fact that my son was killed.
Right.
He was killed by another boy who was scared. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what I think happened. I think that Karmelo was scared, but I don't think that fear is enough to justify stabbing somebody in the eye. In my opinion, how I think this case will play out, how it should play out, and how it will play out are two different things. I think based on all of the evidence, him admitting to it, the fact that he showed compassion, the fact that, you know, he's a flawless student, he's an athlete, maybe that this, you know, at best would get brought down to a manslaughter type of offense. I don't know the legalities in Texas, how that would work if they have a manslaughter charge. This was a heat of the moment type of thing. I don't think he had the intent to kill. I also don't necessarily see him flat out beating this. But because of the political agendas being pushed into this case and the fact that, you know, Karmelo now has over $500,000 to play with as far as his legal defense, you might see him walk with some crazy amount of probation or something along those lines. Due to the fact that he has no criminal history, he has a lot of money to afford a defense, and this case is being politicized. And we've seen, you know, it's become a norm in certain inner cities that it's racist to put high bonds on minorities, even if people are running around shooting people. So we've seen people get caught with guns, shoot people, etc., bond out, and then kill somebody, and then the city is like, well, why the fuck did he get let out? Well, it's like, well, because it's racist if we don't let him out.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure we can also all agree that if the case was reversed and this was a white teen that killed a black teen, there'd be a whole lot more shit going on. And that's the that's the problem right now that everyone's having, is that now they're saying that there is black privilege in which $500,000 has been raised and people are openly praising Karmelo's actions for.
Man, they do that shit for white people all the time too, man.
Versus if the roles were reversed, it would play out entirely different.
They do that all the time for white people too.
Karmelo's a thug. I don't think he should be punished as if he is. And I don't think he should be portrayed as one either. I've had pocket knives since I was like 10 years old, bro. I brought them to school. Cool, for sure. Show them to your friends. Whatever. Like, that's normal shit. That's not some crazy out of bounds thing. He took a picture with a BB gun. They tried to frame it to make it look like he had an AK. He's throwing up gang signs.
Right.
Bro, I done seen NBA players throw shit up. Everybody's just trying to look fucking cool, right? That doesn't mean he's a fucking insane vice lord. And then it's no different when you look at the two brothers with real guns and camo gear because they're country boys, and one of them's throwing a middle finger. It's the same thing, bro. People are just trying to portray this to fit their narrative, and that's the fucking issue with America. At the end of the day, the kid shouldn't have stabbed him, but he fucking showed compassion. He broke down hysterically crying. He asked if he was gonna be okay. This isn't a bad kid. He made a bad fucking mistake, and he's gonna have to answer to that. But hey, it's
that's all it is.
Drop y'all's thoughts in the comment section. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. Until next time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My thoughts are pretty much the same as 10 Jake's right here, man. Like, I feel like the media and, you know, these lawyers and everybody is making this thing a race thing. I don't think it was racially motivated. I don't even think that he wanted to kill the white kid. I don't think he wanted to kill him, but I do think, hey, nigga, touch me again, nigga, you know what I mean? I'm gonna yank you, I'm gonna poke you, bro. Boom. I don't think it was like, you know what I mean? Because that's the one connection that people have yet to make. Like, was it a previous connection with them two? To where this has been like a feud that's been going on for months, for years, or whatever the fuck. Has there been previous interaction? I have yet to see where people are saying that about them. So for him to feel like with somebody he just met at a track meet, these are high school kids, for him to be walking around with murder on his mind, that he wants to do this? Yeah, it's a possibility that could be. But I'm saying, what do I think? Do I think he wants to kill him? I don't think he wants to kill him. I don't know, man. But hey, I don't know these niggas personally. I don't know their attitudes. I don't know their energies. I don't know how they move. So this is just my take on it. Thinking, I don't know, because it could come out, oh, he was this, he was that, he was a killer, or he was a gangster, he was that, or vice versa for the white kid. He was a racist, he was this. And that's the parts I need to know before I can make a true assessment, final assessment. But right now, I would assume, like, man, I don't think he wanted to kill him, man. That's pretty deep. From the details I got, where they just met each other for the first time. And the original video said they only interacted for 30 seconds or 20 seconds. Like, the interaction wasn't that long when he told him to get up from underneath the tent. It was like 20 seconds. So if this is my first time meeting somebody, I'm 17 years old, I'm at a track meet. My first time meeting somebody, they tell me to get from underneath the tent. And I say, man, all right, nigga, touch me, I'm gonna do something. I don't think my intent is I'm gonna kill you. But it's like, nigga, I'm gonna fuck you up. Like, you know what I mean? I want to shank you, but I don't think I want to kill you and risk losing my, going to jail and losing my life in jail and staying there the whole time. Like, I can't see that. But, again, I don't know this nigga to know. So, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Leave a comment, man. 10-9 Jake, shout out to you, man. Keep them dope-ass videos coming. That was my reaction to it. I want to hear what the people gonna say. So make sure y'all smash the like, run it up, man. And go check out 10-9 Jake shit and support it, man. This one was called The Case of Karmelo Anthony, Lies, Race, and Deceit. Let me give him a like. Boom. And y'all know, man, get ready for the next reaction.